Hey, my name is Michael Root with Ableton Keys, and today I'm going to show you how to sync Ableton Live's tempo up with your TC Flashback 4, and this should also work on the other TC Flashback models that they have out. And this should also work on other effects pedals or even other external MIDI gear like a Nord, like a Roland Phantom, anything that can accept MIDI time clock, this should work for. So once again, I have a flashback here. I also have a Nord just to send some piano sounds so that we can test this stuff out. My connection, if you've guessed, if you've watched any of my other videos, is a Mio XC right here. This kind of concept will apply to any kind of MIDI connection that you're making. USB connection, 5-pin DIN MIDI, extended RTP point-to-point connections, you name it, it will work. Because Ableton can send MIDI, as long as your gear can receive MIDI time clock, then this should work for any kind of external MIDI gear that you are using this for. To build off of that, a great note is whatever piece of MIDI gear that you are working with, make sure you go download the user manual and go to the section with MIDI. I've already done that for you in this video, and this pedal, there's no settings that we need to go into and adjust here. This just accepts MIDI clock, and it knows and recognizes when it's getting that, and it will automatically sync all of your delays that you have in here to that MIDI time clock. And the nice thing about it is that, say we have a quarter note delay, then it will feed back out the quarter notes just as you would expect it. And if we go to like a 16th note delay, it would feed back out the 16th note delays, again, just like you would want it to. So with this pedal, it's pretty easy, nothing to dive into there. If you're using different effects pedals, again, check out your manual. Let's go into Ableton, and I have this set pulled up that I use live with my band Signalfire. And let's go to Preferences, which is Command, Comma. From there, we have this open up, and because I have my Mio XC, you'll see that in the input port and the output port right here. And this is so simple. All we're gonna do is we're gonna press sync, and that tells Ableton to send out, because this is output port, to the Mio XC time clock, MIDI time clock, I should say. We'll press this little drop down menu right here. And I was reading online that it's best if you're using a DAW, like if you were syncing Ableton on this machine to another Ableton computer, then I would use this song right here. But because we're using external MIDI gear, it doesn't really matter where in the song we are. It just matters that the BPM is correct. And even if your song has tempo changes, it doesn't matter where at the song that is, because even with this pattern, it will still send that, oh, Ableton Live's tempo jumped from 75 to 76. So then it will send that adjustment out to it. So that's all we have to do in Ableton. So simple. So let's test this out. Because I adjusted a couple things on that patch, I'm just gonna click over here and then back to this patch. So I have a triplet delay on this one. I believe it's like a dotted quarter delay. It's kind of a weirder one. And then on this one is an 8th note delay. Back into Ableton, I have our click over here, and I'm just gonna solo that so we only hear that for now. That way the tracks aren't in the way. So let's go to this first song, and I'll press play. And if we jump right up here, you'll know that this is sending MIDI time clock because you see that little blue flash line up with the click. So real quick, before we get into the fun stuff, I'll just go into here and we'll unpress sync right there. Now if we press play, you see that that little, that dot has disappeared. So now we'll go back in here and we'll press sync. And then we'll press play, and there it is again. So that's a great way to tell if Ableton is sending MIDI time clock. If you're having any issues, it's just a visual troubleshooter that you can use. So let's try this. So I'm gonna jump into Ableton, press play, and then we'll give it about one measure to sync up with each other, and then I'll play something on the keyboard, and then it should be perfectly in sync with each other. Let's jump over to the triplet delay. Yep, so that sounds perfectly in sync to me. We'll stop. Let's jump over to this song over here. This is in 71. We'll press play, and we'll give it a little bit sync up. Let's go to the 8th note delay. Sounds good to me. And let's do one more just for the sake of it. Let's go to like a faster song. I believe this one is faster. Yeah, 85 BPM. We'll give that a second to line up. And you can even kind of watch how that click, if you go back, if that light will kind of sync up. So now it should be synced up. So you can see that is super easy. Again, no settings made in the TC Flashback. Press sync on there and mix your songs to pattern. And that's pretty much it. Some best practices when you are implementing this, whether it's this TC Flashback or it's another piece of gear, always do a lot of tests before you go into a live situation. Test it yourself. You know, I was testing it before these videos just to make sure, and I found a couple things that we'll talk about in a minute. Then go to your rehearsals, test them in rehearsals. You know, sometimes people just like to be thrown in the fire, but with this, you may have some issues. Let's talk about that. One thing I noticed while I was testing stuff, say we're playing this song, right? And I go to jump to the middle of this song, which again, in a live situation, you're most likely not doing that. It would throw off this delay, and it didn't seem to be able to get back into sync unless I went and pressed on another delay and then came back to it. One more issue that I found is it takes about one measure to sync up, which we kind of all expect. You know, if we've done any kind of MIDI clock sync, it usually takes a couple beats just to get everything locked in. The issue is if you play over that time period where it's still syncing up, I've noticed that it'll throw these delays off and it can't really get back onto track. I'm not too sure why. So if you're playing something right off the rip, you know, if you're coming in on a pickup or, you know, you have like a 1 and then you start playing, you may notice some issues with your delay if you need that. It's not 110% perfect. There are some things to watch out for. So make sure you test this at home. If you like it at home, check it out in a rehearsal with your band, with your full live setup. From there, you can decide if you want to implement it live. It's a great option, and it takes one less thing off your plate while you play. You don't have to worry about tap tempoing every single time that you start a new song, which is what I've been having to do every single time. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, it's super easy. This pedal makes it very easy. Just watch out for those couple things that I mentioned. If you like videos like this, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see y'all on the next video.